you brought up simplified acquisition purchases,
Mhm.
and those are interesting, especially in the construction space, because you don't need to provide a bond for them. So I was wondering
Yeah.
from your standpoint, like what's the best way to go out there and get like simplified acquisition type purchases?
Marketing. Marketing is the best way. Um,
Mm,
Also, being found when they're looking. So, back to that story that I told earlier, how we cracked the code and then all of a sudden we were found, right? Um, I have had more than 3 clients just since January 1st of this year be found by the government, invited to bid, and win awards without having to submit a proposal. So your
mm,
visibility and exposure is excruciatingly important. I can't stress that
mhm,
enough.
mhm,
That's the
mhm,
first thing. Proactive marketing, knowing who buys what you sell and making sure that you're on their radar. Um,
mhm,
and then the third thing I will say is going to be if you're doing those first 2 things, the third thing won't matter as much, right? But the third thing is the sam.gov syndrome, is what I call it. Everyone thinks that the only way to get a contract is to see a solicitation on sam.gov, and I am here to tell you that's not true. Sam.gov is a mandatory reporting site. So nothing under 25,000 has to be posted to SAM. So where does that money go? It gets awarded. We see it in the contract data. So if you're not being proactive, you're not putting your hat in the ring for those purchases. Another way that we get those purchases is through sources sought notices, requests for information. There's a huge community of contractors that will say, submitting an RFI is a waste of my time. There's no dollar figure attached to it. And in some cases, you're right. There is no guarantee that that is ever going to make it to solicitation. But if you don't put your hat in the ring and use that phase of the procurement process strategically, you're not gonna you're not gonna be an option. So we're seeing a lot of sources soughts get posted, award notice gets posted, and we're skipping the solicitation. Well, usually that's because the dollar amount falls underneath that simplified acquisition threshold, and the government has what they need to have based on the results of that research to go ahead and award it. So knowing the rules of the playground is definitely a great way to navigate around it without getting beat up.